one thing I'm getting tired of is this contention that the history of the Shah did not begin until Operation Ajax and the U.S. stepped in. The history of the Shah started before that. The Shah was initially installed into power by Russia and Great Britain because the Shah's father was making overtures towards Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. We have that point. The U.S. was not involved. Great Britain and the Soviet Union pulled the Shah's father out of power and put his son in because he would be more sympathetic to their causes. That's a dozen years of time between the time the Shah went in and Operation Ajax. Now, during that time, when oil was discovered, who was it that controlled oil production in Iran? Come on. You know the answer to this. You know all things Iranian. Now, it's a rhetorical question because we both know it was Great Britain that controlled the oil. It was Great Britain getting the revenues. And because I pronounce these names so bad, I'm just going to go by their titles. And in the 40s, the Prime Minister of Iran went and nationalized the oil production of the country. Now, wouldn't talk to Great Britain about any of the revenue sharing, all the development they did. They said, we'll pay you for the equipment, that's it. The Shah went to remove the guy, the Prime Minister, from power. Why? Because he's allowed to do so under the Constitution of the time. He refused to ignore it and drove the Shah from power. Initially, the U.S. did not want to get involved. Not our problem. We don't want to hear it. Great Britain was very upset because one of the pillars of their economy was being knocked out. This was a problem for Great Britain, but not for the U.S. The U.S. got involved because it was finally presented to Eisenhower that the Prime Minister was making overtures towards Russia. The Cold War, the whole thing. Okay? And the U.S. came in and restored the Shah to power. The Shah, by the way, did not change anything at all in the Constitution. Just removed the Prime Minister and put somebody else that was more sympathetic to him in place. The Constitution and all that didn't change. And then so the United States came in and said, well, we're going to change this revenue sharing. We're going to get some, Great Britain's going to get some, Dutch is going to get some, but all the oil revenues are going to get split in half. Half goes to Iran, half goes to us three. That was a change for the better for Iran. Maybe you don't think so, but I call that an improvement. They're getting at least half where they were getting none before. Stop and think about this. And in 73, the Shah, before he got removed by the Ayatollah Khomeini, had nationalized it and removed the last of the U.S., Great Britain, and the Dutch getting any of the revenue sharing. Okay? So, there was history before the Operation Ajax. And choosing to ignore that really slants things. It makes it look like everybody's evil except Iran and what they did. Now, yes, the Shah did very bad things. It's that old saying, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So try and keep this in mind. Yeah, you're just ignoring the effects of the Cold War. And that's just stupid and ignorant. And what is my source of information? Why, Wikipedia. And if Wikipedia is good for your sources of information, it's just as good for mine. Look up the history of Iran. And that whole section is covered there. And I went and researched all the little citations and all that too, so I'm pretty much right on this. So stop with the nonsense. Oh, and I know you'll find this difficult to grasp too, but the U.S. was not sitting there telling the Shah, hey, you must torture hundreds of thousands of people, kill and abuse them, and take away their civil rights and all that. Yeah, we didn't do that. I know you don't really want to grasp that concept either. I'm certain in your little mind there you're saying, oh look, the U.S. was sitting there with lists of people saying, we want this, and this done. And the Shah went, yes, boss, I'll do it for you, boss. They were getting revenue. The Shah wanted to stay in power. Now he took that money that they were getting from the oil revenues and used it to make certain he stayed in power, to keep his dynasty going. Why? Just like all other Shahs had done with the money their government generated for them. Because I'm certain you don't really think that everybody prior to the Shah we're all peace and light. We don't have to do anything to keep ourselves in power. We don't have to overthrow governments and put ourselves in power. That wasn't done until the U.S. got involved, right? Have an adequate day.